hello, everyone. I want to extend a warm welcome to all of you, our partners, customers, clients, suppliers, and members of the press. Thank you for joining us today. Before we dive into sustainability, the theme of this summit, I want to speak to you directly about the challenges we've faced over the past 20 months and the opportunities that await us. As you know, what we thought we were facing last March with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic is far different than what we're experiencing today. The world has undeniably changed, and that's put immense pressure on our global and regional supply chains. Beyond the pandemic, we've also experienced black swan events that further impacted our suppliers. Winter storms caused production stoppages in Mexico, and unprecedented freezing temperatures in Texas affected the plastics industries worldwide. Cargo ships were halted at the Suez Canal, and fires worldwide delayed shipments. And now a global semiconductor shortage has impacted multiple sectors, including our own. Because the world isn't as stable as it's been in the past 2 decades, we're investing in a way that comprehends a world with more anticipated, yet unplanned disruptions. We do this by improving the robustness of our supplier network and increasing local capacity. We've also taken aggressive actions to rebound and recover from unforeseen events. Last year, I stood before you and said we will invest $40 million to bolster our North American supply chain, accelerating production while shortening the distance between our factories and customers. We did that and improved. This year, I'm excited to announce that we're investing even more in our supply chain and will build 2 new manufacturing plants to increase output in North America, with plans to commission them in 2022. In the meantime, we're doing everything in our power across the supply chain to procure the components we need to build and ship products. For instance, we've qualified and onboarded more than 100 new suppliers to support increased demand and have secured and paid for raw materials 12 to 24 months in advance to improve continuity of supply. Before I go any further, let me take a moment to express my gratitude for your business, trust, and patience, especially during the last 20 months. I'm confident we have a world-class supply chain team that is managing the reality that all supply chains have faced. As we continue to strengthen our supply chain, I'm optimistic that our business has never been better positioned for the acceleration toward a more digital world. While the world is indeed becoming more digital, it's also becoming more at risk. Earlier this year, the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change released a report that described climate change as a code red for humanity. In other words, decarbonization isn't happening fast enough. With that in mind, today I'm going to lay out the path toward what holistic climate action looks like. We see it as a 3-step journey that transforms how any organization can become more sustainable. It's a path that involves reducing energy waste through digitization, replacing fossil fuel with zero carbon electricity, and engaging your company's value chain to do the same. This is the path we followed to become the most sustainable corporation in the world, according to the Canadian research firm Corporate Knights. It's a path that anyone can follow. It's also the path that encompasses precisely what we bring to the table as your digital partner for efficiency and sustainability: our products, solutions, services, and software. This summit is about sharing ideas, but this year, more than most, it's about taking action. My hope is that you'll come away from the summit with a clear understanding of how to achieve sustainability in your own organization or your customers and across your value chain. The first step on the climate action path is to reduce energy use across your enterprise. The era of what we call Electricity 4.0 is about coupling data with energy, thereby making the invisible visible. When you do that, you can detect energy waste, some of which has been hiding for years or even decades. I've been in the industry for 10+ years, and I still find it surprising how much energy waste there is. Researchers at the Lawrence Livermore National Lab found that 62.3% of all energy in the U.S. in 2020 was wasted. Another study revealed that energy efficiency improvements alone could reduce the U.S. greenhouse gas emissions by 57%. Now then, to do something about energy reduction, it begins with digitization, and this is where our core open source solution, EcoStruxure, comes into play. Our connected products are designed with digital in mind. They produce data. That data is then captured and analyzed for insights into what's running efficiently and what needs improvement. There are many organizations leading the charge on energy efficiency. On the building front, which accounts for 39% of energy-related carbon emissions globally, is the University of Notre Dame. The university recently modernized its building systems using our IoT-enabled EcoStruxure solution. What they achieved using data was much-needed visibility that detected energy waste hiding within its buildings. As a result, Notre Dame cut energy consumption by 20% and reduced operating costs at the same time. On the industrial automation side, Guardian Glass, a leading glass manufacturer, upgraded its power distribution system to drive efficiency and take full advantage of power factor credits. Let's take a minute to see Guardian Glass story up close.
If it weren't for glass, all of us would be cold. We would not be able to drive our cars. Our previous capacitor banks failed. Installing the Schneider Electric Varset Power Factor Correction Capacitor Banks allows Guardian Glass a 4% monthly credit from my power company. The EcoStruxure software allows greater insight into my power to keep our plant up and running.
This is the first step on the path to sustainability. Reduce helps make invisible energy waste visible. The second step on the climate action path is replacing one energy source for a decarbonized alternative. This is an essential step, and it's where electrification comes into play. Electricity is the most efficient form of energy, and it's the best vector of decarbonization. As the world's largest corporate consultant on renewable energy purchasing, we have deep expertise in replacing one kind of energy source with another. We've advised customers on more than 10 gigawatts worth of corporate renewable power purchase agreements, and we manage an average of $35.2 billion in total energy spend per year worldwide. But replacing energy sources doesn't need to be just a bulk proposition for enterprises. It can also happen at home, where more homeowners are becoming prosumers, both producers and consumers of electricity. By 2025, 25% of behind-the-meter solar installations are forecasted to include storage. Rooftop solar coupled with storage systems will redefine the grid as we know it by enabling two-way electricity flows. This is just one example of a growing trend that we're seeing to help prosumers be more sustainable. KB Homes, one of our customers, is also ready for this evolution. They're one of the largest home builders in the U.S. with a mission to build sustainable homes while tapping into the prosumer market. They're using the Square D Energy Center, an all-in-one smart home power solution, as the technology of choice to help make this happen in a new community of homes near San Diego, California. In this region, grid outages are common. Solar power on new homes is a requirement, and home buyers are looking for smart home automation. Trends such as solar mandates will likely spread beyond California and across the continent, and the Energy Center is designed to meet this need. Connected home solutions, like the Energy Center, will enable homeowners to replace carbon-based grid energy with rooftop solar and storage. Currently, to add solar or storage, you must install an array of extra gray boxes on the wall. The Energy Center consolidates all this equipment into a single smart panel, enabling faster installation. And with intelligent management, you can gain more control over how your home sources energy, from the grid, solar, or your battery. Think of it as a nanogrid that serves the energy needs of a single family. One order of magnitude up are the microgrids that are rolling out at airports, commercial buildings, factories, and beyond. We've deployed more than 300 microgrids across the U.S., and there's no better story than that of Montgomery County, Maryland, a forward-thinking community outside of Washington, D.C. With our help, leaders there upgraded their aging electrical infrastructure. They're also using resilient and renewable energy microgrids to keep the power on in their public safety headquarters and correctional facility if severe weather knocks the grid offline. Being a clean energy leader, the country's 5.6 megawatt microgrid with EV charging capability at their Smart Energy bus depot is set to revolutionize its bus fleet. The benefit to the county will be a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by an impressive 80% by 2027. Let's take a look at how Montgomery County is embracing more renewable energy.
My name is Michael Yombrock, and I am the Capital Energy Project Manager. Because we've seen a lot of weather-induced incidences recently that put about 250,000 people without power, we started looking at developing microgrid systems. From the county executive on down, we are very intent on keeping pertinent and important functions that service the community up and operating in the event of a power grid outage. Working with Schneider Electric, we identified two of our major facilities, public safety headquarters, and the other is our correctional facility. If a grid goes down using the EcoStruxure system, we're able to provide electrical power from the facility by both the standby generators, the CHP, and the solar.
Of course, a big question with any ambitious energy project is how do you pay for it? In the case of Montgomery County, it isn't paying any upfront costs thanks to Energy as a Service. With Energy as a Service, we convert the capital cost of electrical system upgrades into fixed monthly costs and assume operational responsibility for the new system. Energy as a Service allows organizations to avoid the burden of financing, owning, installing, and managing energy infrastructure. To deliver it, we've partnered with the Carlyle Group and Huck Capital on two joint ventures, Alpha Structure and Green Structure. Carlyle and Huck handle the finance side of the equation, while Alpha Structure and Green Structure take care of the rest. Another example of replacing an energy source for a decarbonized alternative is the work we're doing with General Motors. Earlier this year, GM announced us as a preferred provider for their Ultium Charge 360 fleet service. This means we'll facilitate their commitment to fleet electrification and provide a seamless experience for GM Fleet and BrightDrop customers. We'll help implement an end-to-end EV charging solution comprised of software, charging station solutions, and cybersecurity. The solution is packaged with the financial backing of Energy as a Service. With partnerships such as GM's, industries can come together and accelerate the transition to electrified transportation. Now that we've reduced energy use and replaced it with decarbonized sources, it's time for the final step of the path, engaging your wider value chain. After all, no single company can truly decarbonize alone. If decarbonizing your supply chain sounds like a massive undertaking, it is. Trust us, we know it's not easy, but it is possible. We've committed to a net zero supply chain by 2050, with a 2025 target of reducing the emissions of our top 1,000 suppliers by 50%. As I mentioned earlier, we're taking significant steps to building a stronger, more local supply chain. Decarbonizing it is part of that strategy, as longer supply chains are frequently more energy-hungry supply chains. By shortening the journey of goods, we use less energy while bringing production and distribution closer to our customers. Where we can help you here is with our Supply Chain Decarbonization Service, which is part of our Global Climate Change Advisory Service offer. Take Walmart, for instance. We're working with their U.S. suppliers to provide access to renewable energy and aggregate power purchasing agreements. Through this project, aptly named Project Gigaton, we'll help Walmart's suppliers avoid 1 billion metric tons of carbon emissions by 2030. We're also leading a program with a consortium of pharmaceutical and healthcare companies to do something similar.
The Energize program, which was announced at COP26, will really accelerate our internal and external goals, primarily around Scope 3, which is all of our extended supply chain. The goal of the program, working with Schneider Electric and 9 other leading pharmaceutical companies, is to really enroll our suppliers, educate them, and assist them in their own electricity and energy requirements, therefore giving them access removing barriers for them so that they can do more internally, which in turn will make our Scope 3 goals and our overall net zero and net climate impact goals be attained faster and hopefully easier.
We want to see this spread beyond just the pharma sector. We want this to be a model that can scale and be replicated within other sectors and also cross-sector. The amplified effect, the ability to catalyze change and have an impact, this is just step number one. And there are so many different ways that we can move this forward in collaboration outside our sector as well. In order for us to move quickly on the tougher things like renewable thermal and on biodiversity impact and on natural climate solutions and carbon removals, we need to be able to partner with someone like Schneider who can educate and move the people along with us without direct contact and support from us every day, which frees us up from an education component to action. That's really the key. If you've got a net zero plan, but you don't have actionable items, then it's just a plan.
Within our AstraZeneca goals, we've got a very clear target out to 2025 for our internal operations to be carbon zero, and then out to 2030 across our entire value chain. So this particular programme is really a key part of how we achieve that value chain carbon negative by working with our suppliers across that kind of full end-to-end value chain.
This third step of engaging other companies may sound optional or secondary, but it's not. Your supply chain is likely the largest part of your carbon footprint. In fact, supply chain emissions are 11.4 times higher on average than operational emissions, according to the CDP study. Simply put, if you don't decarbonize your supply chain, you don't decarbonize. You also don't need to think of these three steps as a linear process. Ideally, you'd be taking each of them simultaneously as part of a cohesive strategy. As I close this address with our distributors, partners, suppliers, and customers watching, you are the critical players that are part of this value chain optimization story. You are who will shape this digital, electrical, zero carbon future. You are where our success and our successful decarbonization begin and end. I firmly believe that a zero waste, zero emissions, and zero carbon future is within our grasp. Much of the technology exists, as do the methods. What we need now is a change of mindset and a willingness for all of us to take that first, second, or 100th step on the path. Whenever you're ready, whatever your core business is, and wherever you are in your journey, we're here to be your digital partner for efficiency and sustainability. As we all travel the path to sustainability together, we have the chance to create a powerful legacy for generations to come.